And welcome back to Scav Talk, everyone. Today's episode, we're discussing Tarkov's patch 16.7 breakdown. We got an update of 1.0 roadmap. Hardcore Tarkov is coming. It's real. Universal upscaler for all, and then 5 games to wishlist, plus some Nikita leaks. There's a lot of news today in the Tarkov world. Very exciting stuff.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So I guess we'll come on to this a little bit because we want to do it kind of in the right order. But I think the thing that most people are probably excited about was a little leak that Nikita did. We'll look at it in a sec. But he basically was just like, "Oh, it looks like it's going to be a July wipe, everybody," and like leaked that thing. I was like, "Must be the roadmap. It's got to be." And then like 20 minutes later, they're just like, "Oh, here's the roadmap. Yeah, it's July wipe." It's like, okay, everyone thought it was going to be August, but we'll get on to that in a second. I just thought we'd open and lead with that because most people want to know that when the wipe is. It's like the most common question in Tarkov, even 2 weeks after the last one, seemingly. So given that we're so late and it's kind of uncertain and depends on what about 1.0, which we still don't know about, and Nikita has 3 days left, then this is the next nugget of information. So first off, let's talk about the actual June patch, which is the one that we got a week ago, maybe 5 days ago. I can't remember at this point. So this was 16.7, and there's quite a few things in here. Honestly, it's actually quite a few things in here. We'll look at what was on the actual patch notes, and then obviously I've played through it as well. So we could talk about kind of the actual practical ramifications of what this actually meant. So 60.7, first changes, implemented changes to optimize the performance in various parts of Reserve. As a lot of people have said, it doesn't. Reserve isn't one of those maps that is particularly bad at this point. I think some people have seen some improvements, but most people just haven't really noticed because Reserve is pretty good. But yeah, I think like some people have seen that if you do look at the benchmarks, then it is actually quite a bit better. But again, most people won't notice. So looking forward to the other maps as well that are on that list. And changing the in-game season to summer makes obviously some difference, but not like a ton of difference. It's more green. The grass height is higher. So it's a bit more ratty again, which may have may give you some advantage combined with some of the audio stuff that I've figured out as well. With this, we'll see what happens. But
seen some forbidden rat tech from you. I was like, no, Giga, no.
Exactly.
Don't share the rat tech.
So on that topic, audio. As a part of this update, the audio engine systems and its individual subsystems have been significantly expanded to provide a more immersive Escape from Tarkov experience. So this overall is hot for debate as to whether, as to what exactly has happened. I've spoken to some people who've said it's better, some people who've said it's worse, some people who've said it's great, except blah, blah, blah. There's some people who've said, well, I don't think they've done the ray tracing thing at all. It's just an improvement on the existing system. So the jury's out right now. But I mean, also the one big thing that I would say is that yes, I've done an audio testing video. The issue with it is, and I've spoken to a few people about this, when I'm in co-op offline with my own computer, yes, I'm talking to the BSG servers, so that does make it a bit more like online, but nothing's quite the same as when you've got Scav, PMC, like 10 PMCs networking, people on different pings. Like stuff can go all like wonky, right? Because of that. Yeah. So I'm kind of testing under like ideal circumstances, and it does sound pretty good, right? 2 PCs that are coming from the same place, so my ping is as low as it can be, etc., etc. So your mileage may vary, but anyway. So the current version has undergone several stages of testing, however, is still not final, so you may encounter unexpected audio behavior in various situations. This stage is necessary to collect feedback and do more tests on a diverse variety of players' hardware and software. We're already preparing a set of fixes for the upcoming updates, and your feedback and detailed issue reports will help us refine and stabilize the system for all players. So we adjusted the sound system that checks for obstructions between the listener and source, improved the sound processing between the listener and the source when the source was behind obstacles, uneven terrain, rocks, vehicles, crates, and other environmental elements. So there is some. This is what makes me think that they did do the ray tracing thing, because that wouldn't be possible if it was just occlusion layers. Like there's no way that you would be able to do that properly. I don't think. I mean, maybe there's a way, but things like rocks, right? I think you're really going to put like audio occlusion layers in for rocks and stuff. I doubt it. So I think it must be this new system. Fixed several issues where sounds were processed and muffled incorrectly, so improving sound penetration, processing inside and outside of interiors of walls of different thicknesses, because this is kind of to do with their actual like map, right, and the game responding to the actual map itself, and parameterizing those layers in particular, which is kind of interesting. So the rest of it, it's just like sound penetration between floors and on stairwells, occlusion of interactive doors and windows, reduce the loudness of bushes in first and third person. Fix the cause of missing answer warnings on the lab with the interactive buttons, and improved sound occlusion on various locations. So, I mean, there's a lot in there, obviously. In the testing that I did, it does definitely seem better, I think. And I think even from the most people that I've spoken to, it doesn't necessarily seem worse, because even when some people are like, oh, there's sounds missing and stuff in game, people are stepping up on me. It's like, people have always found that's the problem, right? Like that's not a new Tarkov problem. Or it sounds a bit missing for all eternity. So I don't think that's necessarily like worse than it was. You can quite easily tell where people are directionally, though. It's quite good, especially in places like resort, dorms, factory, those kind of areas. The verticality to it is pretty decent, and there is a difference between someone being on the same floor as you versus the floor above. The next floor up and the floor above that is a bit more nuanced. That's a bit more kind of like distance dependent and like how quickly the sound disappears as they run away from you and stuff. I think you might be able to get used to it. You can probably make a good go at it. I know Jesse was in resort and he knows resort really, really well, and he was guessing pretty accurately where people were. Peste on his video, he had a guess of some people inside dorms, and he got one of them wrong and stuff, for like, because they were above before they were down. But the problem is, a lot of this stuff you learn through muscle memory of figuring out that you hear it and then you see where they are, and then you hear it and then you see where they are, and you hear it and then you see where they are, and it's going to take a while to unlearn the old stuff. Like always, right? You have to unlearn the old stuff and then relearn the new one. So it's a bit tricky to kind of just come out and say like, oh, it's bad, or oh, it's good. Like it's really hard to tell. So from the testing that I've done, it's pretty good. The one thing that's kind of weird is staircases are kind of like, you probably saw this in the vid, but staircases are kind of the other way around. So when you're near the staircase, or in the staircase sort of stairwell bit, you can be heard more readily than you can actually on the normal floor areas. And I think like my theory, or my guess, was that this is something to do with the ray tracing model, and that the rays can actually escape down the stairwell. So it sort of makes sense, I guess. The only issue with it is if you're doing like a blind test and someone's moving up and down staircases, when they go from the floor to the stairs, it gets louder, and then they get back out onto the floor again, it gets quieter again. So it's like it's kind of hard to work out where they are, because it's like they're on like one floor, and then it gets loud, and then they go out and again, and then it's quieter, and then they go back in again, and it's loud again. It's like, oh, it sounds like they've come down, but it's like, oh, actually, they're going up the stairs now, even though the sound is louder now because they're in the staircase. Like it's a bit weird, so it makes it kind of hard to tell.
I think I understand.
Floor they're on, but the directionality is like kind of okay. So maybe it'll work out. Anyway, it seems to be all right. And even in the thing that surprised me, even in sort of open areas like factory, if you start like running behind stuff, like up on the top levels in the back and things, it starts to kind of work there as well. And it does blend pretty nicely too. And underground is like super muffled and stuff. Like overall, I would say I'm pretty happy with it based on the way that it sounds. But time will tell, right? And like, yeah, as I said, in practice, with latency and all sorts, it's things can just go weird and things can go wrong. Like, even between my two PCs, there's situations where like my client, like the client that's listening, hears a jump. There wasn't one on the other end. Just because of, the position is probably like it's being interpolated right through the network. So, oh, you went up on that tiny lip on their client, but on your own PC, you actually never went up on that lip. But like,
yeah.
This, to make it real time, like your computer's having to do some interpolation of what the position is, and then your client goes, oh, well, now they've fallen off this tiny little ledge and make a jump sort of sound, but like you never went up there on your own client, so you don't hear it. It is a lot better. So I used to be able to go into dorms and stand on like the tiny little, like sleeping bag rolls and stuff like that, and go clunk, 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 and like hear it from the other client every time, and not hear it on the doing client. Now it seems much less frequent, and occasionally inconsistent. I would say that's a big win.
That's a big win, yeah.
To be honest, it's like I can no longer repeat. I can't repeat it anymore. I can't make it happen. I just kind of have to run around. Like the only way I actually figured it out was I took all the footage, tried to do it a load of times, because it's really confusing when you're trying to do it like real time, right? So I did it a bunch of times. There actually is another way of doing this, but I just couldn't be bothered. And just like tried it in loads of different areas, and then I imported it all into like Premiere Pro, and then I was looking for places where there was like spikes in audio on one and it was missing on the other, and I put all of the one sound into the left channel and all the other sound in the right channel, so I could like kind of hear both. I'm sort of like, in the Matrix, like trying to figure it out. You can do. I've got the other headset, and I did do this like 6 months ago, where I take one ear off and I take the other headset. Yeah, the ancient tech, where I've got like one headset on one headset on the other with the two PCs. But I didn't bother doing that this time.
I love that.
So yeah, so I think the audio is definitely better, and if they are, it sounds like they haven't got rid of occlusion layers entirely. I don't know exactly why, because there are some areas where it just maybe they have. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like they have done. If this system is more generic and just works in more situations without them having to manually like fit layers in here and there, then that's a massive win for PSG, because it means they can kind of look at the areas where it's a problem and kind of change the environment, I guess, as opposed to trying to put these manual fixes in all over the place. So it seems pretty good. It seems pretty good on balance. Like, given that we've come from a pretty low base.
Yeah,
that I would say it's.
I would
say it's pretty good.
Sounds very exciting. I'm very curious to try it out because, I was thinking like it's kind of just the basic foundation of what I want is like give me, 6 planes of directional, like consistent directional hearing. Left, right, front, rear, top, bottom, and I'm willing to give a pass for top and bottom being like not so good on the depth chart, because but I at least need to know that they're either on my floor or not on my floor when I'm inside a building, because it's just so many so many instances where it's just in the past you just it sounds like he's on your floor, and surprise, he's not. He's actually on the floor above you, and then it's oh, okay, I need to use that information next time, and it's oh my gosh, I hear the sound. He's not on my floor. Oh, he's on my floor this time. I guess I was wrong. I lose. It's just that experience is really awful. And
yeah, I would say that is a lot better. On your floor versus really not on your floor, in particular, that is a lot better.
Yeah, and the staircase thing isn't very interesting. I think if that's let's say that's a universal law within Tarkov, that staircases are just flat out, louder, then that might be something you could get adjusted to, the particularly the square ones and the snake ones. I'm thinking on Shoreline in particular. How it's got those little S staircases, if that, if you can if it's consistent, you can get some muscle memory behind it, and it won't feel that bad after a couple tries. So yeah, this is really good stuff. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff as well, I saw through your video the occlusion and interactivity of windows and doors, for example, in the patch notes where you couldn't hear it was very muffled, and you break the glass and it's loud. I don't know, it's there's a lot of that's depth in realism check, but also mechanical stuff as well. It's I don't know, will that come into gameplay? It's oh my god, I'm gonna break the glass so that way I can hear them better. Just some very interesting stuff. So very cool.
Yeah, they had some of that before. So some of the glass and door stuff they did have previously, but it does seem to just work better now. And it's all of these things are combined together, and it's that system where you go near the window and it fades to the outside sound, and it's not like that when you're further away. It just feels much better, I think, than it did. It's at a point where it's now serviceable. I think it's no longer ooh, yuck, this is just horrible.
It just makes it more confusing. So, that was my fear. But it's if they've really got the experience of those 3 planes, nailed down, where you can tell, 90 to 95% of the time where the direction the audio is coming from, then that makes these other really cool immersive features a lot more interesting.
Yeah, it was really funny because when it came out, everybody was kind of going is this actually is it really happening? Is this actually good? Nobody wanted to be the person to come out and be yo, the audio's fixed, because
it's get shot.
It's gonna get dogpiled. So everyone was really cautious. It's is this actually good? Guys, this is kind of weird. Everyone's expecting it to come out and just be lol, dog shit. It's anytime the audio is updated. So yeah, everyone was quite quite surprised. But I mean, yeah, thing is there are still some issues, but I think it's more kind of just latency and networking problems than it is the core audio engine. I feel that might well at least be properly on the right track at this stage. So it's good. It's good. Now the one little bug that I did find, it was in my audio video, which is hilarious, which is the bush noise one, where you creep up. All the bushes work normally, but if you go into a bush and then you make enough noise in the bush each time, because you turn around and it goes shh, shh,
Yeah.
shh. So it plays like bush.mp3 or whatever as you like rustle about, and every time you get a play of it, it gets attenuated in some way, gets diminished by maybe sort of 20 or 30%, and after about 5 goes, it's just gone. So you could just be in the bush silently, which is pretty funny.
Now I wonder.
I don't think that's intentional.
You don't think it's okay? Yeah, I was curious.
I think they've managed to apply some kind of like, rather than just being like, oh, we're going to decrease the bush sound by 30%, they've managed to decrease it by like 30% in every instance somehow.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense, because there is a specific patch note calling out something about bush noises, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So both for you and for somebody else, the bush noise is lower than it was. But they've somehow managed to get it to propagate. It depends on how they implemented it, right? Like it fixes itself if you come out of the bush and go back in the bush. Then it's back to its normal volume. But if you're inside one specific bush,
stay there.
It must be caught in some little loop somewhere where it just repeats the diminishment again and again and again and again. And then you can, I mean, you're not going fast, and they can still hear your footsteps. But you could be like slow crouch walking through it,
they
so
can
you
hear
can't
your
be heard
footsteps.
outside of. They can hear your footsteps, yeah. So so it's either the slow walk footstep or the slow crouch footstep, which is kind of the better ones, because prone is really noisy. Prone has been really noisy forever, right? So you can,
but if you
want to be a turret, if you spin while it's prone,
you make no sound.
Because the problem is, if you this is where it's annoying, right? So if you spin while you're crouched or stood up, you make the foot shuffle. So you have to do the kind of what's it called? The circle strafe. Yeah, like usual. You have to be moving while you turn for crouched and being stood up.
Yes.
But then they'll hear your footstep audio. So if they're 20 to 30 meters away, they'll hear you if you're stood up. If they're 10 meters away, they'll hear you if you're crouched. But if you're prone and you spin, you're just a literal turret, because there's no sound for prone spin. And there's usually bush audio for spinning prone in a bush normally. But if you sit in it for 5 audio clips or whatever, that also goes away. So you're completely silent when you're prone, if you do the trick right, which is quite funny. So yeah, like as I said in the video, it's like pretty niche, but it's quite entertaining. But that was really it. There was a couple of weird bits where I was just like, oh, that staircase is maybe a bit too loud, or like this audio section outside resort is a bit, it cuts off like too quickly, or I can hear myself like stand on this piece of metal underground, but then if I go in this other corridor, I can't hear it anymore. But I think that's an inevitable symptom of if you're using these rays or whatever. It's like, depends on, because some people were talking to me as well in chat about, everybody thinks that audio ray tracing is going to be, really intensive, because they are always thinking of like visual ray tracing. Visual ray tracing is like really hardcore, but audio ray tracing doesn't have to be. You don't need to cast anywhere near as many rays, right? You just need to kind of get it like broadly right. You're not creating an image wherever you have to do it like pixel perfect across every pixel or whatever. Like you can cast so many fewer rays. Like we saw the example, right? They're not even casting that many rays really. They only need a few bounces to work it out.
Yeah, I mean, imagine you could do some type of baked implementation on like objects. Like imagine, I mean, I don't really know. I don't really know, but in part, I imagine you could say cut costs and some performance that way too.
Possibly, yeah, possibly. So yeah, so it's interesting, and it does seem pretty good. I like the way that it fades from one thing to the next. Like there's most of the time, I'd say, outside of me trying to really stress test the system, in most situations when you hear people running around, it's kind of like, oh, they're near me, and then a bit further, oh, and now they're on another floor, or like if they're on, they're near you and there's an open doorway above you, it's kind of, oh, it sounds like they're really close, and then, oh, now I can hear that they're above, and it sort of blends from one to the next. You don't have these hard, there's very few like hard lines anymore where it just suddenly clicks from one regime to the next, which is good. It's a lot better. It's a lot better.
Now,
so
I did notice one particular case, which was the resort first floor, from them coming like outside of admin into like one of the wings. It seemed very hard cut off, which I didn't really mind necessarily, because it's very, like, the nice thing about a hard cut off is going to be very clear when they are and aren't. in the floor.
Hmm.
However, when you start doing things like networking, and if you got like a 90 millisecond delay, maybe 200 millisecond delay, then that might be a little, frustrating. But was that just like a one-off type thing?
Yeah, those are the only ones I could find. I mean, I've got like literally an hour of footage of
Mm-hmm.
me running around in all sorts of different places and trying stuff out. I didn't find anywhere on factory that was weird like that. It was only that bit on resort that I
Mm-hmm.
found. And I'm listening to both PCs for an hour the
Yeah.
whole time across resort, across dorms, across factory, in many different places. Like there's loads of footage that I didn't put in the video. I was half tempted to release an hour-long unlisted video and be like, if you want to hear all the footage, here it is. But it was going to take like an eternity to render, so I couldn't be bothered. Because it wasn't like I could just throw it together, right? Because I had like the dual POV situation and like all the audio tracks and stuff. It's like, oh, I can't just I have to actually like put this together as a proper thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have time because I was busy doing caught up with other stuff. But and I don't know how valuable that is anyway. I mean, it is actually pretty interesting it's more interesting to do it in real time though, I would say. Like it is eye opening to be able to run around on one screen and hear what you sound like doing the things you're doing using the other computer. It is eye opening. But I've
I
said that
wonder.
for ages, ever since I started doing it.
Yeah, now I'm just like morbidly curious, but a bit of a tangent. But I'm just curious. What if you just like released it like, and public, and it was like 1 hour of pure audio testing, unedited. you know,
I think you probably get like 5 or 10,000 people who'd watch it probably.
red arrow pointing, parentheses, real, all caps.
I just don't think it would perform very well. I think
Yeah,
some
no.
people would watch it, but that's why I would put it like maybe as a resource for people who
Mhm.
want to watch it. It's just like not particularly interesting. I don't think. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I think these things sometimes you get surprised. You never know. But my take is that I think it's better to have like a curated audio testing with the proper message. I could have left a bit
Yeah.
more in at the end. Said like, here's a few more things, but I just tried to pick all the interesting stuff and just put it in there. It's like, well, if it's not interesting, I don't want to make a thing about it. It's kind of my broad sort of philosophy on it. So
Yeah.
I kind of left it as it is.
Yep. Understandable.
But yeah, I don't know.
All right.
So
AI improvements.
AI improvements. I don't really know about this at the moment because I've not actually been able to play it a lot. I've been like really busy doing loads of random stuff and like been caught up with like family and like loads of other things. But improve the interaction of bots with doors. I thought that this was better even before the patch. So bots were closing, opening doors, and not warping through them anymore. PMC bot. A lot of this is PvE as well, I would say. So PMC bots will now try to avoid areas where the location bosses initially spawn is. So in PvE, you don't get like PMC bots just like stealing the boss kill constantly. Several issues where bots can walk downstairs faster than usual. Bots appearing in the air or the ground. Specific situation where bots tilt their weapon upwards for no reason. I thought that about like in inverted commas because I've only ever seen bots tilt their weapon up when they're like tracking somebody through a wall with like ESP equivalent, right? And the BSG team have always said like, oh no, the bots can't do that. And it's like, oh, there's someone fighting up in office, and there's like four scavs on factory all pointing up at the office. And you're just like, when bots would tilt their weapons upwards for no reason. Okay, guys, like, all right. So maybe that's not to do with that, but that was the first thing that I thought of. Fix the issue where boss guards and PMC bots were friendly to each other. Fix several issues where the goons would appear in multiple locations at the same time on PvE. So a lot of it is just PvE boss stuff rather than anything in the base game. Like a few little other bot things about doors. But as I said, I thought it was better anyway. So I'm not sure if I've really been able to tell what the difference is. The main part of this was quality of life. Like the quality of life stuff is actually really, really good. So let's talk for a minute about added an item search window with the ability to find items in stash by category or by name. Dude, this is done immaculately. Whoever did something like the drop downs for the for finding weapons and finding helmets and stuff on your PMC character, or the ammo mag packing facility, right? Whoever did those functions, I'm pretty sure did this as well. And whoever it is either they've either been they're new-ish to BSG, like a year or two, or they're somebody who's like been given some extra power and they actually know what they're doing, right? Because this thing, the search thing, is like it's like BSG's like just crowning joy. This thing,
Really?
it's so, dude, it is so freaking good. My stash is full of crap. I have so much stuff. I have like infinite amount of stuff. I have like the maximum stash space you can possibly have without Unheard Edition. 2 thick cases, 6 junk boxes, all filled with stuff. My stash itself is full, and it works amazingly. So you open it up. It's a little window. It's like a little miniature window, a bit like the sorting table a little bit, but it's like a miniature stash window, and it starts by default just with like a list of items. I guess probably, you know, I don't know which ones it does by default, but you've got all the tabs down the left hand side. So if you want to look at like all your barter items, all your weapon mods, all of your food, all of your ammo, blah, 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 you could just click into there. At this point, I've got way too much for that to really be functional, but at the beginning of the wipe, that'd be quite good because you can click into like all my food and it'll show you just those food items in a little list, right? You can then search for whatever item you want. So if you want to see how many ES lamps you've got, you just put ES lamp and it'll show you them all as like their own individual item, as if they're in a box, say. So you can see whether they're found in raid or not found in raid. You can then, so you can just count them up or whatever. If you want to say like, oh, where's my, like, where do I have a scope? I know I've got a voodoo somewhere. You can put like voodoo in. It'll show you all your voodoos, and you can just drag it out of the search box somewhere else in the inventory, and it'll remove it from wherever the hell else it is in your inventory to wherever you've put it. You can also click search inside items too. So if that voodoo is in a ring mount already on a gun, that will pop up as well.
Wow.
So that's optional, whether you turn that on or off. You can have fan and raid turn on and off as well. So fan and raid items only, non-fan and raid items. And whenever you like pull an item out of there, it just is like, now you just pull it out as if the item is physically located there. And it's basically like a wormhole, like to wherever the hell else it is in your inventory. And you just pull it out and put it down somewhere. And you're like, okay, now I have this item like right in front of me. It is so good. It's so powerful. You basically don't have to search through or sort anything ever again in this game. Like it's mad. The quality of life in this thing is outrageous. It is so good. I was shocked. I was genuinely shocked.
Wow.
That's excellent. Yeah, that is truly excellent. And there was even like little things there was even just like tiny things that just surprised me just about how robust it is. So say you open up the sorting table, for example. That's not like technically part of your character or anything. It's like a separate body, you know, it's a separate entity.
Right.
If you drag items out of the search table into the sorting table, they then disappear from the search table. Like they no longer exist in the search table.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like removing them from your character. Like it's just the links between it. It just works so well. It's so good. So good.
I'm patching it now. I want to see it and showcase
need to have a look
for
at
real.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I just really love it. I've literally just got on my list of stuff when I was testing out the patch. I've literally just got written search is amazing.
Yeah,
that's just like no qualifiers. Just search is amazing. It's so good.
Sounds like they got all the things any one person would want if they were like, you know, coming up with a list and more of, you know, here's the things I would want in my search thing, and then they also thought of all the niche cases where, you know.
Exactly, that's the thing, because BSG historically have been awful at that. They'll do a thing, and it's then like, yeah, but what about like the very next step that people will immediately think of within like 2 seconds?
Yeah,
you know, like the wish list, for example, is just like, well, that's the wish list is great, but like, oh, but now maybe could we have like, you know, put a number on the wish list? It's like, oh no, that's like, yeah, we're not going to do that. But and like with the preset system, it's just like, oh, it's kind of good, but like not in a way that means you can actually use it. Like you have to work to use it. Anyway, so next one on the list was eyewear and masks with flash protection stat now reduce the glare effect from light sources. Items with this stat have been rebalanced. So now basically, I'm actually doing the testing on that like right now. As we speak, that's what I was doing before this cast. So I haven't finished doing it all yet. Well, I actually have, but I need to put the stuff together. So there's broadly 3 categories of item that have flash protection: glasses, as you might imagine, face covers, and visors for helmets. That's like broadly the 3 of them. The flash protection ranges anywhere from 0 to 50%, depending on what it is. Within the regular glasses, the best ones that you can get are the welding goggles, which are 35, And then you've got the crossbows, which are 30, and then they kind of like range down from there. The best in the whole game is the Tagilla face shield, as you might imagine, because it's like proper welding mask. So that's the 50% one. Other ones that are good are the Masker with 35%. I think the Reese T has 30, the Alton has 25. Kind of annoyingly, the Death Shadow has 20. Bit of a bummer. It's like just a bit annoying to me that's like actually quite
That's
good. It's quite up there. Death
Would
Shadow's the like, class 2 full face shield one from Ragman that you can get.
Right. So you can wear like a U-Lock and a Death Shadow. Or
yeah.
So you get like a
and you get the 20% buff on that thing. I think it should be like 0, in my opinion.
Right, because that thing's already
-10. Like it already has no downsides other than cost, which is not really good. It's just not a very good balancing mechanism in this game, right? For a Ragman level 4 item. Like by that point you can afford the Death Shadow. So it's just like it's already kind of too good. And then I wish that there was some advantage. Like the gas welding goggles, so they are better at 35%. Than
can you even buy those off Trader?
Shadow is at 20, but no, they're on the on the flea only, so they're quite an expensive item, right? Because they drop on scavs, and they're quite expensive items. The crossbows are the next in line with 30%, which they're also pretty good. You can't really tell the difference between the two, but lo and behold, the crossbows do the whole glow in the dark thing. Glow in the fog. That old chestnut. So that makes that one a little bit tricky. What was the next one? So it's gas welder, the crossbow one, and then the Raybench Hipster Reserve and the Aviators. I'm pretty sure they also glow, which is pretty funny. Let me just check. I did actually do this. I did look at this the other a minute ago.
Pretty sure you were correct.
Aviators, they glow as well. So then the other ones. So these are all 25%. This is Raybench Hipster Reserve, Raybench Aviator with the green lens, which is the one from Arena. So that's the Arena Battle Pass Ref GP coins one. Interestingly, that one doesn't glow because it's got green lenses. It's a different glass in the glasses, and so they don't have the bug. Not weirdly. And then you've got the John B glasses, which are 25% as well, but they're expensive and hard to find. The RAM frames are 20, but they glow. So the best one's probably it's the gas welders, really, if you want to spend whatever money. And then if you don't want them to glow, I mean the Raybench Aviator from Ref is probably the next one, but that's GP coins. So if you want to actually pay for one, I don't even know which next one would actually be on the traders. Because the Dunducks glow as well. It's probably like the Oakley safety glasses. Can you buy those? You can buy them from Ragman 4. That's really annoying. See, I haven't gone through the list and like checked which ones you can buy and which ones you can't buy. You'll probably just end up going with something like the Batwolf because they've still got the class 1 protection and they have got 18%, which is better than nothing.
You only get that off the goons, though, right?
No, you get on
actually, yeah, okay,
apparently,
yeah. No,
I only ever normally buy Condors, but the Oakleys are now kind of strictly. I know there's an effective durability difference, but for level 1 class, who cares, right? It's a ricochet chance thing, so that doesn't matter. But they're kind of strictly better. Well, that's actually not. They're not quite. That's not quite true, but they're nearly better because they've got an 80% flash or glare protection. Now, the thing that I would point out here is that there's an ergonomics penalty for these glasses now.
Oh, really?
Which has been done in a very naive way, which is not necessarily a problem. But basically, it's the flash protection divided by 5. That's your negative ergo. So if you've got 35% flash protection, like on the gas welders, your ergonomics is -7%. It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot. So the crossbows is -6. The Batwolf is now -4. The Condor is -2 because it's only a 10%. So
that can't be. Yeah. Okay, well, here's the important question. Well, actually, before I ask that, what's the one on Prapor called? The Prapor 4 that was
the Condor.
Condor, yeah, okay. What was that one?
Yeah, so they're 10%.
Okay, all right.
Flash reduction and 2% ergonomics.
Right.
So they're okay. 10% is it's okay. You really want to be getting up towards those 30s though to diminish flashlights.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Like not qualify, but like quantize. I don't know the right word. You know what I mean?
Yeah, quantify. Yeah.
Yes, quantify it. flash, because like the flash bang stuff is like kind of whatever. The glare from lights, particularly flashlights, how like yeah. So you're saying 35 is about where you want to be for it to have a noticeable effect, or any? Like, what are we talking here?
I would say 35 to kind of negate most of the effects. Like it'll be pretty easy to shoot somebody at 35. Like the Tagilla one at 50%, pretty much negate. Like you can tell that they have it on, but it doesn't interfere with you really at all.
Yeah,
Like the Tagilla face shield is very, very powerful
yeah.
for dealing with flashlights. Like you just can't. You're just not affected,
But
really.
so that means that did they add? Because this tequila already had a pre-existing ergonomics penalty. I assume. I don't know.
It did. I don't know if they changed it though. I feel like they might not have changed it for these. Let me see face covers. What is this now? Together is minus 15. I actually don't know what it was before.
Let's see. Might be able to pull it up.
I don't know
on
what it was before. Yeah, you can probably put it on the wiki if you go into the editing section.
Tequila.
I wonder if they changed. I wonder if they added that on. I don't know.
You can probably find
I
out.
don't know because the masker face shield on its own is minus 13% by itself, which is kind of wild.
Mask of face shield. Oh, for that's
Yeah,
killers?
like the killer helmet. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like minus 13. That's for the shield. Although it might have been like that the whole time. I'm not actually sure. The helmet on its own is minus 4.
Okay, so it
the
did.
package is minus 17.
So interesting. So if I am to believe, well, I can just click here and like double check. Yeah, okay. So previously it was minus 2%, minus 10%, minus 5. Okay, well, 2% movement speed, minus 10% turn speed, minus 5% ergonomics, and apparently, according to this, wait, where is it? This line here, it used to protect blindness by 70%. That's purely flash.
I mean, it
though.
was a bit weird before. Yeah, like it was strange before. It did protect against some things, but it was just like flashbangs and stuff. I did test this like a million years ago. Yeah, so that kind of tracks because if it was minus 5 before,
yeah,
they've then basically just taken the flash glare protection. They've just done it systematically. So they've said, okay, this thing gets 50%. Divide that by 5. Does that make sense?
10.
Did I say
Yeah.
divide by 5? Yeah. So then it adds 10. So before it was minus 5, now it's minus 15.
Yep. So.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like a really high price to pay. Like.
It is.
But I mean, maybe in particular for the. I guess yeah. This is I love stuff like this. Is interesting stuff for me. So like, is it gonna be worth buying? Wait, does the can I see okay. So what about like visors? Do visors have any of this stuff?
Yes. So visors now have what is the best? So yeah, so that's the thing. The masker face shield, so visors, they're minus 13. They go up to 35%. So the mask is 35%, Reese T is 30, Altin is 25%. This is reduction of flash. So correspondingly, like the Altin face shield, for example, is now minus 8% ergonomics. The masker is minus 13%. So the whole masker helmet is minus 17%. The Altin is minus 8. I don't know what's the base Altin helmet. Let me have a look. The base Altin helmet is minus 3. So it's minus 11 for the Altin.
Okay, it went from 3 to 8. Because it's a wait. Oh yeah, because that would be because it's 25%.
It's a 25%. So divide by 5. So yeah, so you can kind of work out what that was before.
I mean,
I'd say like that's about right. Like the 25, 30%, like the Altin Reese T, that's kind of like where you want to be, I think.
Yeah, I mean, oh man, it's just kind of hard to now. Well, okay, yeah, credit where credit's due. They did a good job of ensuring that, sometimes this stuff slips through the gaps, seemingly, anyways. But yeah, now it feels kind of hard to like justify. Like I don't know, like 5% extra ergo on, like if it's I really would have to see the difference, like what I'm actually paying for does that 25% flash reduction justify the 5% ergo? Because it's 5% is not a lot on its own, but like once you stack all these things, if I'm gonna wear a visor, and it's like, well, I gotta wear a good armor. You know what I mean? It's like you got like a reduce or like something really heavy. It's like ergonomic penalties. Like, well, I gotta bring a big backpack because I'm all chatted up. It's like I gotta bring a drum mag, and it's like by the time you're done, it's like you freaking ADS is like, it just takes forever. So a lot of this stuff adds up. And then if you got the big backpack, you're looting, you're overweight. It's like, so yeah, I really got to see what is that actually getting me, and is it worth? Because is there any point in? Because I guess for the face shield stuff, it's not really that make or break. Like I'm not gonna not run a, it's not like I'm gonna buy an alt and be like, oh, I'm not running the visor because of this extra 5%. It's like, I'm if I'm running the Alton, I'm always putting on the visor, right? I'm not doing something crazy. But like for the glasses, it's like, oh, am I actually like fine paying a flat 5% ergonomic penalty for just having 25%? I don't know, maybe. I'm curious to see what you conclude.
Yeah, like it is good. The flash reduction, it is good, but not everyone's using a flashlight, and I think it depends on kind of what you're doing. I'm interested because I'm thinking like, what is actually the best one? So obviously the gas welders, that's the one you want, but then the ergonomics is, if you can deal with the ergo, then it's okay. But you don't want the ones that glow, and the ones that cost GP coins are kind of annoying.
They really need to fix the glowing thing. I'm super curious. I didn't realize that they made that one of their arena aviators, excuse me, is a different color of frame. Like I don't know if it's a color thing or if it's like a material thing. I would think it's a material related thing. I don't know though. It could be. Who knows? But yeah, the fact that like the exact same model, just a different skin, doesn't glow. It's like, guys, come on! It's like right there. Like just copy paste whatever code. Like I don't care. Make them the same color. Do whatever you gotta do. Just like, because this bug's been in the game for so long, and it's such a noob trap.
I'm sure they have to do is just change the texture to something else.
It's got to be something relatively
whatever transparent
simple.
Like texture they're using, it's just doesn't work with the fog. But they have so many. They have a bunch of these that do work.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That do actually work. It's like, come on, please, just do it. Please.
I'm sure it's on their extremely long list that will get fulfilled in 1.0. Their bugs to fix before 1.0. Surely.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I just thought
kind of crazy.
This is kind of a buff to scavs, player scavs, because you always have glasses as a player scav. So now when a PMC flashlights you, it's just like, haha, I have glasses.
True. Very true.
Countered. PMC. Get countered.
Okay.
All right, jumping back.
Enough about glasses.
Yeah.
So, added the display the in-game raid time and pressing the O key by default. So if you've changed it to the double press like time and exits thing, you have to rebind it a little bit. So the way that we all unbind O from time, and we all just have like press O on show time and exits. Well, show time and exits doesn't show the in-game raid time, which is kind of annoying. So now I've got show time and exits on O press, and I have show in-game raid time on O release. Then you get everything. Yeah. Then you get the time, you get the exits, and you get the in-game raid time, and it shows up in the bottom right. So it'll tell you, 8:15 a.m. or something.
Yeah,
which is it's nice. It's nice to be able to see that. So that's good. Ability to automatically convert currency with not having enough when purchasing an item. I've not done this, but I saw Pesley trying to do this, and he said seems a bit buggy based on whether you've got enough space to have the rubles at the top of your stash and stuff like this. Like if you don't have it ends up like not having anywhere to put it, and then there's like JSON errors and that kind of thing. It doesn't seem to work very well. Like if you've got space clear, he was saying it seems to then be okay, but there's quite often where you just get like a bug and it just won't do it. So that needs some tweaking, I think. Added the highlighting of attachments that are available from purchase from traders on the weapon build screen. This took me a while to try and figure out. There are now 2 new icons when you go into the weapons modding screen, like the actual like proper weapon modding screen. When you're looking at attachments, there is now a green kind of like shopping cart icon. There is no icon at all sometimes, and there is also a red shopping cart icon. So every item in that overview, in that weapons modding screen, now has one of those 3 possibilities on it: green, red, or nothing. And so it took me a bit of iterative process to figure out exactly what it is, because it's not explained anywhere. And what it turns out is, I mean, it seems obvious right at first, but when you actually start getting into it, it's like, oh, this is a bit strange. So green means that you can buy it from the trader right now. Like you have it unlocked, you have access, and you can buy it from the trader. I actually didn't check to see what happens if you buy out all of the quantity of a particular trader. So if you bought all 5 of, say, their EXP holographics, does it still show as green or not? I actually don't know. Blank means that it isn't purchasable for you at the moment from the trader, which means that either the trader doesn't have, this is where it gets really convoluted, right? So blank means that either the trader doesn't have it at all, like it's not possible to buy from the trader, or you just don't have the item unlocked yet, so you don't have the trader level for it, but you do have one of them in your stash. That's what no icon means. So if you have one, so say you've got a voodoo in your stash, but you're only level 1, the voodoo in the workbench will be grey because you have one of them, but you can't buy it yet. Does that make sense? If you don't have a voodoo and you go on the workbench, then it'll be red, which means it's not purchasable from the trader directly. The game has, it's either purchase or barter. So green means you can either purchase it or barter for it. Red means that you can't purchase it or barter for it from the trader at your level. And blank means that you can't purchase or barter for it from the trader at your level, but you have one in your inventory somewhere. So it's a little bit niche. Green means yes, red means no, blank means you've got one, is the short of it. But the exact parametation about it, outside of the out of stock, which I could actually just quickly check that now, just so that I know the full list.
Oh, I see. What
it
you're
basically
saying.
just it doesn't differentiate between. There's no differentiation between like this item is fleet only for everybody versus this item is purchasable on the traders but only at like level 4, for example, and you're only level 2 traders. That you can't tell. It's just red in both those situations.
I see.
Unless you have one in your inventory, and then it's blank. It doesn't show up with any icon.
So, okay,
and if it's green, it means you can buy it. So yeah.
Okay. I mean,
it's fine.
Yeah.
It's good. It's okay. You just got to understand exactly what it means. Because I was just kind of like, well, does this mean I can't buy it from the fleas? I mean, there's nothing on the flea. No, actually, no. And I was like, no, that doesn't mean that. And then I was going through all the different ones. And I was like, yeah, but why is this one red? And it's like, oh, well, I haven't done the quest yet. Like, it's purchasable from the trader technically, but I haven't done the quest for it, so I can't buy it. It's like that kind of thing. So I was like, oh, okay, it's red. And then I was like, well, then why is this one blank? And it's like, oh, well, I can't buy it, but I have one already in my inventory somewhere. But using the new stash function, I would say, actually, you can say, well, I've got one somewhere. Where the hell is it? Well, you can now go back to your stash and search for it and find it, which is kind of cool. Because that would be infuriating, actually. Like, you're in the workbench. It's just like, well, it's blank because you've got a voodoo somewhere. And you're just like, well, where the hell is it then? And you just have no clue. That would be annoying. It's hidden away. It's like, it's not stuck on a 3-slot long gun that's folded away in a ring somewhere. So yes, that's what that means. I was actually just going to go check. Like, what's something that's useful to test this with? Maybe like an optic or something. It's the last thing that I wanted to check. Let me see. What kind of sites are there's LCAT, like the EXPS 3.0. You can buy 4 of them. If I buy out all 4, I'm no longer allowed to buy those from Peacekeeper anymore. So if I then go and edit the build on this Scar, I'm gonna go and look at the EXPS 04. Where are you? I've got to find it now. XPS 3.0, this guy. Okay, it's still. Oh wait, no, Skier's got 3 as well. God damn it! Let me buy out those 2, and then I'll redo it. No, because I'm like totally intrigued now. Oh wait, hold on. now that I have, now that I've got them all, now that I've got them, it's now like got no, it's got no icon now. Right, so like, so I actually can't tell. I'm gonna have to like delete the ones that I've got, which is kind of annoying. Maybe I will do that. Shall I do that?
Yeah, delete them.
Maybe I should do
You're
that
rich.
just to test it. We'll do it just to test. Yeah. Let's go. Move them out. Delete. Okay, so they're all gone. Right, finally, we get to go and test this. So we'll go back into the build. And EXPS. Where are you? There we go. It is still green. Okay, so it basically tells you if you are technically able to purchase this bad boy. So even if it's out of stock, it'll still say that you can buy it.
Okay, so it's purely green means you can buy it from the trader. It includes barters, I assume. It has to, because I have some stuff. Yeah. So, and then red means you got to get up the flea, or you don't have it from the trader. And then no sign means you have an inventory. So it's gonna be one of those three at any given point in time. I mean, I feel like that's like a, it functions.
Yep, it's good. Added the ability to pin tasks at the top of the list on the task tab. This just works as you would imagine it does. You go in, you press pin. I mean, there's no surprises.
Are you sure, Giga? There's not some hidden, trick here? Like,
in fairness, I've not used it that much yet.
When I reorder it, is it gonna like, sort by trader? Is it gonna jump around randomly? Are you sure?
So yeah, maybe there's a trick, but I don't know. So far, it seems to be working okay.
No, that's cool. We like that.
What I did, yeah. So that's fine. Added a warning when attempting to start the inventory, start a raid with the task item in the inventory. I haven't tried that, but I don't know. I assume it's working. Optimistically, rebalance the sensitivity and zooming of optical sights. This isn't anything crazy, to be honest. But they have changed a few things. So a lot of people are saying that the HHS works now. I didn't actually end up testing that myself, but apparently the HHS site does actually function. The Voodoo and a load of the others don't zoom as far as they did. I haven't gone through to look. We'd need somebody to update.
You mean
there's that website that I was using?
You said don't zoom as far as they did. You mean they don't move as far as they did? Or did you say move and I heard zoom?
Like the Voodoo and those scopes, they don't zoom as much. So the 6x-ness of them, they don't magnify as large as they did. So the magnification on things like the Voodoo is now a little bit less, but they've also changed the reticle.
Okay,
well. I don't know whether they've changed the reticle or not, but but previously when you zoomed in, it would zoom in more than 6 times.
Okay, when you say zoom, do you mean player field of view? Do you mean the scope itself?
Like inside the scope.
Okay.
Like so before the patch, at max zoom, a person would be larger on your screen than they are now.
Okay.
That person would now be smaller, so it doesn't zoom in as much.
Okay.
But the flip side is that the reticles are like slightly smaller as well.
Okay.
But there's a whole bunch of tweaks with them. The thermal seem a lot faster refresh rate, which is quite interesting. So things like the flare in particular, but the repi also seem a bit quicker as well. So they are kind of better, I suppose. But I haven't done any like exhaustive testing on those either. So there's like a few. It basically, you just go and check out some of the different ones that you like, and it may be better for you. Is kind of the deal. Like I haven't gone through and tested all of them yet, so I can't tell you exactly. But yeah, a few things have been made better.
So what about?
I think this is like with the next bit, like usability of specific optical and thermal sites as well. With usability, I mean, I'm gonna have to go through and actually look properly.
So what because I read this line, rebalance the sensitivity, like that stand out to me as like mouse movements. Is that not what that means? because it says rebalance the sensitivity and zooming ability of side optics. So like, I think the "and" there is saying, pointing towards the, you know, zooming ability part, maybe,
I guess so. Yeah, the
or
sensitivity
ability. I don't know.
seemed pretty similar.
Okay.
Like the zoom optics seemed lower sense than a 1x, like they were previously. So the fixed optics like an Elcan have always moved faster than things like an Elcan and a Valde have always moved quicker than like a Voodoo, Schmidt and Bender, Razor, those kind of ones. So that seems the same. So I couldn't really tell that there was any difference there, to be honest with you.
Okay. That's, I
Didn't seem
mean,
any different.
for me, that's fine. I thought maybe they changed it, which I'm like, why would you change it? Just let us change it. You know, like if you're gonna like mess with stuff, like that's just gonna be annoying. You know, I have like 5 years of voodoo sensitivity training in my head. Like, don't just suddenly change it. You know what I mean? Unless you're doing like some universal system. But yeah. Anyways.
Yep.
Uh,
They added some Nate protection for the reduced armors, really of no consequence. Transit. This is kind of interesting. Maybe on wipe transit to another location will now count for all tasks with an objective to survive and extract. So you can just like transit out instead if you want to, which is kind of intriguing. And rebalance the operation of the rocket launcher. I could not for the life of me figure out what that means. I was in a co-op raid with with Spinman from chat and Discord, and we couldn't really. I mean, we didn't try that hard to be honest, but you still die to the backblast if you're the one stood in front. Person behind you doesn't die, but you do as the user. You still die if you get hit by the rocket launcher. I don't know what's different. There doesn't seem to be anything different with the rocket launcher. So I really don't know. I really don't know.
There's a few fixes. I think one that stood out to me was that there was a bug associated with like smoke grenades and client server. Like you basically could like bug it out where you would like be sprinting with a smoke grenade, but you'd be like constantly spamming grenades on the server or something weird like this.
Oh yeah, so every time you pulled the pin on the smoke, it would release a plume as if you'd thrown it, but you could then just put the pin back in and like pull the pin out again, put the pin back in. You could just make infinite plume clouds, which is quite funny. So yeah, I mean the rest of it, most of those, I don't think there was anything really interesting in this. Nothing that really stood out to me when I went through it before. Like some really random ones. Fix the cause of the weapon becoming slightly larger when inspecting the KAC 10-round magazine. Like, what the hell does that mean? Like, you inspect the mag and the gun gets like bigger and bigger and bigger.
Like every time you inspect it, like just at the end of it, just like this giant gun.
It's Tarkov, but every time I inspect my mag, my gun gets longer. It's like the classic, like, you know, brain rot YouTube video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's 16.7, the patch notes.
Yep. So 16.7, we got a technical patch that came afterwards quite quickly, which has a few things in it. The main one being fixed an issue that caused an ability to add multiple conflicting attachments to weapon builds. All conflicting attachments built this way will be moved to the sorting table. So this was the age-old bug that came back again on this patch. Somehow, I don't know how this managed to sneak back in, but it was quickly worked out by various people that you could attach the Hera Arms stock, and then you could add another buffer tube and another stock over the top. You must remember this one. This has been in the game 3 or 4 times over the years. So you could get down to like 2 recoil M4s and all sorts of shenanigans. Because of the existence of the sorting table now, it is a bit unfortunate that they can just go and just pull them all out onto the sorting table. Because like I remember I had like a legendary M4 from that era at one point. It wasn't that level. It was the there was the suppressor jailbreak one. And I had the jailbreak and also a suppressor in at the same time. And you could have this like super low recoil M4. And it was just like gold dust item that you couldn't get anymore. And because it was prior to the sorting table, there was no way for BSG to actually like prize it out of your hands as a player. So once you built these things, you couldn't faff with them in the workbench or anything. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to put them back together again.
Yeah.
But you could just keep it, you know. Whereas now these days they have the technology. They can just go, no, this is a forbidden gun. You're not allowed this. So a lot of people were going, oh, no fun, BSG. Patch your bugs in the game for 6 years, and then patch this within 30 seconds. Yeah. So yeah, because it's like it takes like one line of code. is the reason. But anyways, that's why they did that. They did another one, which was fix an issue causing errors when trying to upgrade the gear rack in the hideout. I don't know whether they were working on that already, but that happened to me, and I actually reported that like literally a week ago or something. And they were like, "Oh yeah, we know about this. We're working on it." And then in the very next patch, there it went, because I couldn't upgrade my gear. I'd forgotten I hadn't even upgraded it, so I was on like level 1 gear rack, and I tried to upgrade it while I was just tinkering about the other day, and it was just like would not do it. So that's fixed too. So yeah, other than that, nothing much interesting there. Now, let's go through the next section. So Nikita then teased, as we said at the beginning, he teased. There's a few other bits, but we'll talk about that in a minute. He teased a picture on Twitter, which was all basically some kind of like pictures, like a phone photo or something, of what looked like the roadmap, which kind of got everybody going crazy. And on the picture itself, it has, like you can see it's like at the top EFT, it's like the right styling, it's like at an angle, and all you can see is July and then Hardcore Wipe being point number 1. So like obviously everybody went into a complete frenzy, because this is pretty much a clear cut leak.
As official as it gets.
A Nikki leak, as official as it gets, of a July wipe, because everybody thought this was going to be August, as we talked about previously, because of this interchange expansion thing. So obviously everyone went into complete overdrive about this, and everyone was just going completely insane. But then there wasn't really much point in him teasing it, because probably like an hour or two later, they actually ended up releasing the actual roadmap update that we've been looking for, because they said they'd do that in June. So that was one half of the promise. They said June for the updated roadmap, end of Q2 for finding out when 1.0 is. So we don't know about that yet, but we do know about this roadmap. So the roadmap itself, you can see 2 of the patches have been released already. That's 16.6 and 16.7. We've then got this one, which is the screenshot, 16.8, July 2025, Hardcore Wipe, which we'll come back to in a minute. New prestige levels, new PMC customization options, cumulative fixes after 16.7 update, which is very interesting. Then the patch after that, which is the August one, reads 60.9. That has the in-game event in it, balancing fixes, quality of life changes, and cumulative fixes, Shoreline Ground Zero interchange optimization, Escape from Tarkov PvE and EFT arena synchronization, new PMC customization options, and the full weather season. Okay, so things to draw your attention to on here. So July has changed materially from the previous roadmap. So beforehand, July had obviously no Hardcore Wipe in there, right? But it had Shoreline optimization, Ground Zero optimization, random fixes, and a third-person gunshot sounds rework, and the in-game event with the cult symbol, right? So the optimization stuff has been moved. They've basically gone like, screw it, we'll just wipe, and then we'll deal with the optimization like in August or whatever. So Shoreline optimization and Ground Zero have been moved into the August one, and the in-game event has also been moved into the August one. So there was previously a large scale in-game event in August, as well as the cult in-game event in July. Those look like they've been merged and placed in August directly. So the July patch hardly has anything in it. It's just like, officially anyway, I mean, they're probably adding some stuff, but they're going to do this Hardcore Wipe, whatever that means, and then some of these prestige things. And then a lot of the stuff from the July patch has now gone into August. The one big change that is worth noting is that the interchange optimization and expansion from August in the old roadmap now is just bundled with Shoreline and Ground Zero and just says optimization. So it looks like the expansion has been delayed at least, if not cancelled. Who knows?
Interchange expansion,
the interchange
that is.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So the interchange expansion looks like it isn't coming until at least, later after August, or 1.0, or maybe not at all. It's hard to tell, because it's now just gone.
Or it fell through cracks.
It's now just gone.
Maybe
it's the new FPS FPS improvement on the patch notes, and then it's gone. But so between those two things, it's like most of the stuff got moved out of July. A lot of the other stuff is now in August instead. Interchange expansion specifically has been dropped off the radar, and they've added PvE and EFT arena synchronization, which is basically adding ref to PvE, which is something they said they would do, and that they're actually going to do it, which is good. So yeah, that's it. So the big question about all of this, which I probably got asked about 20,000 million times yesterday. I think I got asked it literally every other chat message. What does Hardcore Wipe actually mean?
Yeah, what does it mean?
obviously nobody knows, right? Nikita uses the word hardcore in a general sense. He says like "long live hardcore," and Tarkov was supposed to be a hardcore game, and now it's kind of mid-core. It wasn't supposed to be how it is now. It's like things are more accessible, with the flea and the way stuff is. So Nikita sees hardcore as more hardcore than the base game. That's fine. But exactly what he means by hardcore remains to be seen. Because the community reads hardcore as like Pestely's hardcore rule set.
Right.
So that's what the community thinks. But whether Nikita cares about that or really knows about that, or I'm sure he probably does at some level, but whether that's what he thinks by hardcore being on this roadmap is really the telltale sign. Given this wipe, it would be safe to assume that there's going to be no flea for an extended period of time, I would imagine, given we had that for like 6 weeks at the beginning of this wipe or something like that. So something similar, I imagine, will be the case. Outside of that, I mean, the reason why the hardcore rule set exists as it is because those are the ways to kind of spice it up, right? So you can pick and choose a basket of different features from Pestely's hardcore rule set, and that will probably end up being what the game, depending on how hard it is for them to implement and yada yada, right? You can imagine things like, if not barter traders only, something like traders being much more limited than they are now. Flea being delayed for maybe 2 months at least, for a long time into the wipe. Maybe you don't even have a hideout at the beginning. You've got to unlock that doing something as a community. Maybe insurance is blocked. Maybe scav is blocked for a while. It's this combination of the different rules, like locked container, like you can't, or maybe everyone has an alpha container for a bit, or so, I don't know. Like this, basically just like pick and choose things out of Pestely's playset, and it could be any of these things.
It could be none of those things, though.
It could be none of those things. It could literally just be we're going to just do like the no flea thing again,
or like
because that's kind of hardcore, right? Like no flea for 6 weeks, and then there you go. Because they did that already.
Yeah, or like Nikita's vision hardcore is like, there's a landmine 5 feet from your spawn, and there's no indication that the landmine exists 5 feet from your spawn. Hardcore.
Yeah. So I don't know. Now the only other thing about it, I guess, that sort of makes it interesting is that Pestely was talking recently. I actually spied a short that he did, which was him talking about the hardcore event that he wanted to do.
Yeah.
It's like a 2-minute long short about him talking about how he's gone back and forth with BSG so many times about it. They spoke about it. They had like dates for it, and then BSG went radio silence, and it's just like he's just sick of talking about it because he's tried to organize this thing for 2 years, and it just ended up like becoming nothing, which is just like annoying for him, which I can understand.
Yeah.
But like it's interesting, like whether that's got anything to do with that as well. Like it's impossible to know, really. But I mean, I'm excited about whatever this might be. A Nikita hardcore wipe, kind of cool. Like there's been a lot of speculation about what it's going to be. Obviously, I would still quite like there to be something along the lines of a second character for hardcore. Like if they released a second character and left the original characters as they are for the time being, that would almost be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of me just says like, I feel like it would just be better in general, just to be like, hey, this is like a one-off thing, release 1.0. This is gonna be a very small wipe. Like, probably a lot of you aren't gonna like it, or the portion of you aren't gonna like it, but just deal with it, type of thing. You know what I mean? And like, because presumably it's only gonna last for 3 months, maybe.
Hard to know at this point.
3-4 months. I mean, I don't know. So, I mean, I guess it could last till December. I don't know, man. I
think it could.
I don't know. Part of me just thinks and wants to believe that it's just like he's doing this, as like a one-off thing, and it's just to do it before the big release. But we'll see.
Maybe.
Either way, I don't know, man. I might have to hop back in Tarkov World. I played last swipe. I just reminded myself when I launched my account. I played last swipe all the way up to whatever level I got to, like 36 maybe or something, using only traders, no flea market. Flea market illegal, banned. And
Yes.
I think except for a few exceptions like docs cases and like just because it got annoying having 50 keys taking up stash space and I didn't want to like use rigs and you know what I mean. It's just like just give me anyways. But and some like Gunsmith quest items because those were just annoying. But anyways, so I'm ready. I've been training, for this
Definitely.
moment.
Yeah, you are ready. And like I've been doing my hardcore account stuff this time
Yeah.
as well. And it's
God,
like,
if it's
okay,
actually like Giga Brutal, like you just load in, you start up your character, and your stash is like 0, 0, at the top of $1, and it's like nothing. You're just like, well, time to go in.
Oh,
Scav is locked out. It's just everyone's running around with like no melee weapon. Like, where's my gun? I need a gun.
Yeah, it'd be so funny. It would genuinely be so funny. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to see. It'd be good. This is the thing, though. This is why I feel like maybe it should be opt-in because not everybody wants to do it.
I just don't think it's gonna be that brutal. Like it might just it could be something as like, oh, your container's locked. Like, oh no, or like I don't know. Like it just maybe no flea market. Because I really don't think the flea market thing's that bad. I mean, it's fairly annoying for various tasks and stuff, but like that's my thing. If the wipe's only going to be for like a couple of months, the average player isn't going to care. They're not going to get to some of these more annoying tasks down the line. Like there's some of these like Gunsmith tasks. It's like, oh, I can't just go on the flea market and buy the stuff. I have to like actually, do a barter or like grind a trader or whatever. But so yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
So the only other stuff is Nikita posted a picture of some live action footage, which we don't really know what that's to do with. There's like a widescreen picture of some people doing some actual, I don't know, yeah, like the usual Chronicles of Ridgey raid series, etc., etc., etc. Very bad scav managed to sort of like, I don't know whether it was him or with his chat or whatever. They kind of like geolocated this to like within the game. So it's obviously the inspiration for Streets, wherever it is that they're doing this stuff. It's like in a particular place. On
Oh
Streets,
yeah,
like
yeah,
one of the archways,
the
kind of near the finance building.
Yeah,
Exactly, just kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So that was with whatever it is. He also posted something today, I think this morning, which looks like a poster, trailer, hardcore tease hype thing, and all you can read is like COR with like a bunch of dead people. So that probably says hardcore, whatever that means. So this is like some banner for like next wipe, I guess, or something. And then like somebody asked, so Merp asked him, Nikita, when will Blit? And he said, actually soon. Because that's the other part of this, actually, which I didn't really even touch on, is when July? Because technically speaking, the wipe could be in 1, 2, 3, 4 days.
Yeah.
Because July is in 4 days' time. So when exactly is that going to be, late or early? And then he also reposted Glorious's tweet where he said, hey, Battlestate Games and Nikita, can we get Crazy Mark to him since the game is wiping in July? And then Nikita retweeted that post with no comment. So it's like, okay, what's happening here? I think it'll probably be more like mid-July, because obviously, usually they do pre-wipe and all this other stuff. So it's probably more like the 17th or something like that. But man, it's interesting stuff. July wipe with a hardcore tilt to it. Hell yeah, I'm in.
I'm super curious to see what it's like. I mean, I don't know if I'll like actually get into it. Just like, oh man, Tarkov is like such a.
You know you will. You won't be able to help yourself. You know it.
Damn it, you're right. I can't resist it. I need the loot.
Yep. It'd be great.
Yeah, I can't wait to see.
So, right. Is that? Yeah, I think that's everything Tarkov related. I mean, there's a lot of like stuff because of this update and everything. But I think that's all for now, at least.
Cool. Let me tell you about some very cool technology that I came across not too long ago when I was like dabbling in Cyberpunk. 2077 modding, but I
Hmm.
didn't. I have this really. I wouldn't say it's a toxic habit. What's the word? But I just have like this habit of modding a game, which basically involves me downloading like over 500 mods and like installing them
Right.
and then never launching the game. It's a
Yeah.
really toxic habit. But I came across this from a YouTuber that I follow occasionally. He does like um hardware, gaming hardware videos, sales, build stuff. The name for this YouTuber is Daniel Owen, and the thing I want to talk about is called Optiscaler, which I'm trying to find the video, and there it is. Okay, so there is this open source software slash mod for games, and basically what it acts as like it seems very clever. I'll jump to one of the
Right.
slides to uh help explain it for me. Yeah, I guess just go to the GitHub. But anyways, it kind of acts as like a middleman, I think. So as long as you have hardware that can do some type of upscaling, whether it be like an Intel card, AMD card, or an NVIDIA card, you can use this software Optiscaler to act as a middleman. It will take that upscaling, like let's say you're playing a game, right? And the game within itself has some type of upscaling solution, right? Maybe it has
Yeah.
like AMD FSR, and that's it.
Hmm.
But you have an Intel card or you have an Nvidia card. It's like, oh man, I can't use anything. This sucks. Well, with this, it can act as a middleman, and since your card can do this AI upscaling technology, it has like DLSS support, but the game only has FSR. It can translate it into basically anything. So you could now take the game, you could take your Nvidia card, use the game's upscaling solution to translate it into whatever you want. You could do Intel upscaling solution if you want. You could do Nvidia's that it didn't previously support, Intel, or you could use the whatever the game was using, AMD for example. And so that's like one aspect of this. The other thing you can do is if the game has frame generation, and with there's a few caveats here, but assume we'll just say only DirectX 12 right now to make things a little bit simpler. But if it has frame generation, okay, you
Yeah.
can take that and you have an AMD card, you have an Intel card, it doesn't matter as long as it has some type of frame gen in there. You can then switch that over to FSR's 4 frame gen, I think. I don't know. Well, you can use. I don't think that's actually right, but you can use AMD's frame gen. You can't use all the frame gen technologies, but so like use case. Let's
Okay.
say you have you have an Nvidia card, or yeah, I think that's probably like the most usable case. And the game only supports AMD frame gen. Well, now you can use this with your Nvidia card, and now you can get AMD frame gen in the game, which is pretty cool. So, how does this work? Great question. Techno wizards. That's what these people are.
It really does sound like it.
Yeah. Um, so, the first major caveat is don't use this technology in online games, aka anti cheat, because this absolutely involves DLL files getting modified, slash hooking, slash injecting. I don't know if there's actually any injection. I'm not the person to, but yeah, they clearly warned that, and like it makes sense because you are like, yeah, there's a little bit of I think now they got a piece of software associated that's like an installer basically.
Right.
And you could just drag and drop files, I believe, but yeah, there's some very cool stuff here. So, um, I don't know if you like I think they have a. Do they have a? Let's see. There's a how. I think they have a. Yeah, wait, compatibility list. Where's that at? Here you go. They have a compatibility list on the GitHub. Again, it's called Optiscaler. You can find it on their GitHub repository, and they have a list. I mean, this was last. Looks like it's very frequently updated. This was last updated today. And yeah, you can just like find your game. It's likely going to be a single player game. Like I the first thing I did was like type in ESCAP. Ah, dang it, no. But yeah, I I don't know. I definitely want to give this. I mean, I have this semi. I have this on my list of mods to try for Cyberpunk when I ever get to it. But it was very cool because I got to watch the video from, like I said, this YouTuber Daniel Owen demonstrate it, and I was like, wow, this is like very simple, and you can take a game that like doesn't have, because there's also like other use cases outside of like let's say for example you have an Nvidia card in the game, or I think the better example is AMD. Let's say you have an AMD card and the game supports AMD, upscaling solution and frame generation. Great, but it's using a older version like FSR3 instead of like the latest FSR4, which is like much better in terms of like the AI algorithm for like scaling and artifacts and stuff. You can just use this to like upgrade it essentially as well. So it's very cool. I like heckin' love open source stuff like this. It's just like makes things better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like there is some like you can really go further with it. Like I think he pulls up a little overlay. I think it's like the insert key presses that brings up a little overlay. And there's like different functions you can mess with, but like the very simplest thing is you can just get more options and play, try different scaling solutions, up better scaling, newer scaling solutions. It's great. Heckin' love it.
That seems insane.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool.
I don't even begin to understand how this works.
I know. Again, there like has to be some major techno wizardry because, like as you say, how's I don't know. I mean, I guess like in theory, you know, do you have all the because the vendors, the creators of the technologies for this, like you can usually download these developer kits for like to put these softwares in your game, right? So like average people have access to this stuff, but like they're not, you know, end users aren't really using it for this. But like if you're a programmer yourself, it's like well you got all the stuff there. It's just now you just gotta like create a middleman to handle all this stuff, and yeah, and like it seems like minimal downside. I'd be curious to see some benchmarking because I'm sure nothing's free, as they say. Like I'm sure there's a little bit of cost, but I can't imagine it would be anything severe, you know. But who knows?
That's interesting.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah, there's the only thing that I've got to add on the kind of frame Jenny sort of AI upscaling, blah blah. So somebody was talking to me the other day, and I was like, I didn't actually see this as a thing. They were talking about something called NVIDIA Smooth Motion, which I'd not used, which was it's like a driver based frame gen that NVIDIA have released under kind of DLSS 4. But it turns out it is only available on 50 series cards at the moment. Apparently they are going to push it backwards onto 40 series, but they haven't done it yet, and there's like doesn't seem to be any like time horizon on it, unfortunately. But it would mean that you could technically use like driver level frame gen on streets for Tarkov. I mean, maybe the latency would be a problem, but like going from my most recent Grey Zone experience, that has sort of turned my head a little bit towards frame gen because it actually works really well now in Grey Zone, whereas it used to not. It's very specifically not. Like it was very, very, very bad. So I don't know. But the thing is, that's like natively in the game, so I'm not sure whether it would work or not. We'll have to see. I was like interested to try it, but I've got a 4070 Ti Super, so I can't use it yet. I need to wait for them to backward compatibilize me before I can give it a try at least. But it could be cool on streets for people who have enough frames to get to something decent-ish, but not enough to get up into the hundreds or whatever, could work. Because like my frame rate doesn't really go below like 50, 60-ish. So it's not like I'm in the 30s, because in the 30s it's always just going to look garbage, right? Because of the latency. Because you just don't have enough frames. Your frames are only coming like 60 hertz is 16 milliseconds, I think. And so if it's like you're getting up into the like 33 milliseconds or whatever per frame if you're only at 30 hertz, and it's like we got to generate a frame and then generate another frame and then stick a frame in between, and then the latency goes up to like 50, 60, 70, 80, that kind of region, milliseconds. And when you're talking about internet, I mean, that's noticeable on like the internet. When you're talking about your own mouse, you really need low latency under like sub 20, otherwise you can feel it, and it sucks. So I don't know. Well, I'll try that when it comes out, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Another thing I forgot, I can't find verification, but I think he says in the video that you can use your 20 series cards, but I'm not certain about that. But something to look into, nevertheless, for those of you that are like still on those generations.
I guess that's still compatible with DLSS and stuff, right? So in theory, if this thing is just translating between all the different formats, then it should work, I suppose.
Yeah. Like you can, yeah, pretty cool. Because I think some of the 20 series are locked out of certain, like for example, I can't get Framegen on my card, right? Because it's a 30 series, but I could get AMD's Framegen through this method. Like that's one benefit. And can
you get AMD Framegen anyway? On the 30 series, like I think you might be able to.
I can't remember. I can't remember.
I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember either.
I want to say yes if the game supports it, but I'm not positive. I honestly, because the only time I've really ever messed with it is in Cyberpunk modding, which was like basically a mod. Like I think it might have been an earlier version of this. I don't know. And Gray Zone. I think I tried some Framegen in Gray Zone, which I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was like.
I think that would have been AMD's one. I think that would have been the basic AMD's one, because you wouldn't be able to access the NVIDIA one.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was that or if it was like some like a Unreal Engine type of Framegen.
There was an Intel one as well in Gray Zone. Like there's an Intel one to EXSS, but I think that might just be a DLSS style model. I'm not sure if there's a Framegen for that. I can't remember. Yeah. I know that they do have the the like FSR Framegen. I know that that's in the game at least.
Yeah, so that probably was it.
Yeah, I think I could use that one because I started Gray Zone with a 3070 as well, and I think that was usable, but it was very late.
Not a great experience. Yeah, just not enough frames to really make it worth it.
Yeah, from what I remember.
Yeah. Okay, so there's that. Let me tell you about some games. So I've been doing a thing where I've just kind of been like adding a bunch of demos to my library, and then like every other night I'll like open up a random number generator and then have it generate a number and then pick one out from my list of games to play. And so I got a few gems, few ones that are like kind of interesting. I'm gonna pull it up on. I don't really like using Steam's app because you can't scale the heckin' stuff. It's kind of annoying for broadcasting purposes. So I'm just gonna tell you about this first game. It's called Metro Gravity, and it is a indie dev, solo developer, by the way. You can actually buy this game now, which I didn't realize, because I only played the demo. But I was going through my list last night, and I was like, it's like, okay, I'm gonna pick a game, generate a number, and then I was like, hey, you know what? Screw that. I'm gonna just pick this game, and it's not just because you're playing as a thick witch girl. Okay, that's not the only reason. When I got in the game, I was kind of like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. But the game is super cool. Like, I really digged it. So it's basically a platformer, but it's kind of, it's kind of a lot of things. It's a platformer. It's kind of like a Souls-like. You got like a dodge mechanic. There's like a rhythm game aspect to it. There's the really cool part of it, of the platforming, is that you can basically walk on walls and like your camera shifts, and you can like, that's
Right.
like the zero gravity part, I guess. And you get like different like abilities related to that. Like there's one where very early on in the demo, you get it, you can like cast this essentially column on a wall, and it's like a magical column. And then now when you walk into that column, it drags you. It's like a gravity column. It drags you onto that
Hmm.
wall, so you can go from like the floor to the ceiling, and etc. And then there's like different physics puzzles related to that, where you like move the ball of water with the gravity puzzle. There is a 3D map that you can use to like, navigate. It's very reminiscent of like, that like golden age Nintendo 64 era, but kind of like PS1 graphics, but not quite. It's more like PS2, and there's like a little bit of pixel art involved with like the UI. Like, I don't know, it just like, I played it and I was like, wow, this really speaks to me. And I found out that because I went after I played it for like an hour or two, I checked out the developer and I saw they had a YouTube page, and I watching, and they were like talking about their experience and journey. And I actually found out about this game from a YouTuber called Iron Pineapple, who does like
Yeah.
a video series where he's like, I played 9 Souls-like games that you never heard of on Steam, and here's what I
Mm.
found, blah blah. And which is funny because like some of those are like the most loosest definition of like Souls likes, which is hilarious. But and some of them he'll just submit, be like, yeah, I just wanted to like show you guys this game. But anyways, this game is really cool because when I played it, it's like the gravity stuff, like the platforming and like the art style and everything. It was like, oh, this is really cool. And I got into like combat, and my first encounter with combat, it like locked. You can basically toggle the ability to walk on any surface on and off. So like, let's say
All
you're
right.
on, let's say you don't want to like shift your perspective, like you don't want to like jump on a wall or like traverse on a rock and like have your camera shift, because you'll be locked on it like gravity essentially. So you'll be like standing at an angle on this like jagged rock. So you can lock it to where it won't. You'll be on a flat plane, and you can toggle that on and off. But in my first instance of combat, it like disabled me from toggling that at all. So it was just basically locked to the flat plane. And I was like, oh, this is I'm not gonna lie, kind of disappointed. And then my next instance of combat, it didn't lock it. I think it was just to like tutorialize me on how, combat works. Because combat in this game, there's like a metronome that's on the HUD that like ticks basically as a literal
Right.
metronome would, and I think it's in like a set. I don't know the exact musical terms, but I think it's like a fixed like 8 bars, right? So it's like ticks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then it resets, right? And
Okay.
the boss's attacks or whatever are like linked to that, I believe, is how it's working. So it's literally like a rhythm game, and it's like whenever it attacks, it will indicate a like what you need to do to evade it, whether it's a jump or like a dodge. So I don't know. It's if you like those kind of eras, like uh, what's the other one? Like Sly Cooper. I guess it's more like PS2. But like, I don't know. It's just like it reminds me of that. It's a little like nostalgia bait, but it's because it's got like that little retro feel to it. But just like really cool. And there's a grappling hook with like movement stuff, which I just like, I love stuff like this. Like, I'm such a sucker because I was watching his YouTube video, and he was mentioning this other game where he was like, yeah, I basically got really inspired from this other game, which was called. Oh, let me pull up my list here. Uh, oh man, I'm gonna have a hard time pronouncing like pseudo Galleria. I don't know how to I don't know how to
I don't
pronounce it.
know.
Which is like a very I can see the you know various inspirations. I mean, it wasn't like a direct inspiration. They got inspired by like a very specific because this game is like purely movement, right? But it's
Mhm.
anyways, and I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this game before in a few different places. So I added it to my wish list, and then I went and checked that developer, and I saw they're making another game. Okay, I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but hear me out. Electrokinetic. All right, it's not it's no planned release date set to be announced, but I read the description. Electrokinetic is a roguelike 3D platformer where you build your own moveset as you play, traverse a variety of tight platforming levels with abilities new and old, trying to find secrets along missing and randomly generated cyberspace. So you're telling me you created a 3D platformer roguelite where you get new movement abilities? Like, oh my god, yes, please, I need this instantly. And it's like, it's like you're a cat and it's like cyber, like techno stuff. Like, I heckin' love this, dude. I'm super excited about this game.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This is like it all reminds me of like I don't even know. Yeah, just the old school PS1 era, really. Like, I
Yeah.
played some of those games, but like I wouldn't say that I'm like desperate to go back. I have to
Mm-hmm,
admit,
mm-hmm.
it reminds me of, like Spyro.
Yeah. Another classic.
Game I played a lot of.
Yeah, but
Bored as a teenager.
this Metro Gravity game, it's very easy to get trippy and a little bit lost. But
Does it ever give you like motion sickness a bit if you're like doing all the twisty round and round?
I don't get that. No, I personally don't. I don't have that. I only had it happen to me once, and that was with I was sitting and doing like VR in like a racing chair, and I was getting motion sickness because I didn't have the. It was just a static chair. So like when I would turn, there was like no gravitational pull happening, and that was like this is like there was this weird like brain disassociation going on, so it made me very uncomfortable. But like I'm so used to games, on like a static screen just sitting there playing, so like it doesn't affect me. But like for whatever reason, the VR driving thing did. It was I guess just like heavily immersed. I don't know, but yeah, it could happen for some people for sure. I could see that. Okay, shall I continue? I don't want to overtalk.
Yeah. We
Okay.
probably got time for like one more maybe.
We'll make it quick then. Prison of Husk. Do you like Dark Souls? Do you like PS1 era Silent Hill style graphics? Do you like weird, mysterious things, creatures, women, and with like chainmail dresses? Well, this is the game for you. This game is really cool. It's like imagine if like Dark Souls was made in like 2001. It's just like that's basically the game, and it played really well. It has a very interesting style of like combat where you sort of like block / parry, but you want to parry right as like at a very specific window. Like you can block, but it's kind of bad to block. Like you won't take damage, but then you'll get stun lock essentially. Because you have sort of like I guess it would be like a stamina meter. But if you parry, then you gain like a huge chunk of stamina, and like stamina is such about like your attacks eat up so much stamina in general, and so you can dodge. So you get into like this really, I don't know. It's a I think I'm not really sure, but it's like what the pace is, but the combat feels different. Like it's similar but different enough because it's not like Dark Souls. Like Dark Souls, a lot of times it's just like either shield holding up your shield spamming or just a lot of dodging and attacking. This is like a very unique blend, and you could like really get into a pattern with like boss fights where you're doing these perfect parries and then but still like dodging, because it's not like Liza P either. Sometimes in Liza P I felt like dodging was largely irrelevant. It was just like blocking and perfect blocking. So like you would just like be fighting a boss, instead of like moving, you just basically sit there, and then because you're trying to like time your blocks perfectly, it's kind of, which is kind of weird sometimes. But anyways, yeah, you should check it out. There's a demo, and add it to your wish list. Very, very cool game. Liked it a lot.
I'm still just like so unqualified to talk about like Dark Souls type stuff. I'm still like yet to play any of them, so I'm just like, I just hear people talking about parries, and it just sounds like a rhythm game.
It basically is, yeah.
I was listening to some people talk about
pattern
this
recognition.
Claire Obscure game that a lot of people have said is like really, really good.
Yeah.
And I was toying with maybe playing that, because that sounds like it's got some Dark Souls elements to it.
That's what, yeah.
But it's nowhere near as like hardcore. So it could be maybe like a nice way to like get into it. Apparently that's like a combination of I was listening to the podcast with Darth Microtransaction. I kind of like fell off listening to them for a bit, so I've been busy and I'm not actually like, going back and forth from like this random location that I'm at. But I listened to that one and they were talking about it a bit there and saying it's a combination of like Pokemon and Dark Souls and Final Fantasy and other stuff. And I'm just like, well, I like a lot of these other games. So, all the things that I like with a sprinkling of, Dark Souls in there, that maybe that's a good way to kind of like get involved with the stuff without, just hating life or whatever.
You should totally do that. That.
Everyone seems to like it.
Yeah, I've heard great things about that. I'm happy for that studio, because they're a smaller studio, and that is one of the great things about Unreal Engine in games, is that they, like, without Unreal, that studio probably wouldn't have been possible. At least, yeah, it's just, it makes accessibility for developers easier. So one of the upsides. All right, last one. Project Amica. Do you like boomer shooters? Do you like Zelda? Do you like Doom? Classic Doom? This game might be for you. This is based off the GZ Doom engine. Now, I've realized I'm kind of a noob at this this stuff, this world. Because I played a few different, of these games, and, it's like, I could tell they were using the same engines. But anyways, I really like this one, because the art style, like, it's very, this feels like straight out of, early 2000s, late 90s. I'm playing Zelda, but it's like in a Doom style setting, and it was actually very difficult too, to my surprise. Yeah, I felt like I died in the first level. You know what I mean? Like the first, like I was like, oh my god, wait, this isn't just like, it looks all like kid friendly and stuff, and it's like colorful. And it's like, oh my god, wait, this is actually hard. But yeah, it was really cool. I liked it. It's essentially as the I don't think it says it here, but it's kind of like, it's like a Metrovania. Like you play the game, you fight the enemies, you move forward, and it's like, oh, you unlocked the double jump boots. Now it's like, oh, now this section of the map is opened up, and I don't know, it's just really cool. It was a cool little game. I liked it. Project Amica.
That's kind of neat.
It's neat. It's neat.
Awesome.
All right, and those are my games from this week. At least the ones that were noteworthy. I played some that were not so noteworthy. We won't talk about some of those. No hate, just not for me. Not for me.
Very last thing before we wrap up, the BSG have literally just released a survey about patch 16.7. So go and fill that in. The best part about it is you get a MCC and a GPSA. So you get the two items required for solar power and Intel Center for completing this thing. Obviously the wipe's coming soon, so like it doesn't really matter. But basically, which game mode you play, how's the technical state of the game changed after 16.7, what quality of sorry, what quality of life changes do you like the most? Has audio changed? You know, a few bits and pieces like that. So go and fill out the survey and get yourself the tasty level 3 stash upgrade items. So there you go.
Did you see this?
Someone in chat said, "Hey, what's the name of the Wizard game demo?
Wizards game demo?
What was the one?
Oh, the
that you were
witch.
talking about with like the magic.
The witch one.
What was that one called? Yeah,
Not Defy Gravity. Metro Gravity.
Metro Gravity. There you go.
Yep.
There you go. Cool. So yeah, new patch. So yeah, wipe soon. Who knows when? I mean, it could be. Well, we know it's now going to be in the next 4 weeks. So exciting times. We could be 2 weeks away from a wipe. Who knows? Hardcore. It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, it looks like we got
Interesting.
early footage here. You're going to be running in third person with items case on your bag, a money case on your backpack, weapons case. There's floating objects in the air. Oh, this looks like Death Stranding. I don't know what's going on.
Yep.
Who is this guy? Is he on the VSG team? I feel like it.
Is this Tucker Basement guy?
Yeah.
I think he's BSG. He's the BSG guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure. He does pretty good stuff.
He does. It's kind of what's that guy called? I've forgotten now. I haven't watched this for
Tarkin.
ages. The other dude. Tarkin, yeah, it's like Tarkin.
Yeah.
Taking inspiration from Tarkin and done some like janky stuff in game. I think they quite like Tarkin actually, so they're like, oh, let's do some of this fun stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that's gonna conclude it for today's cast. I mean, as you said, hardcore's back, baby. Long live hardcore.
Long live hardcore. Goodness me.
So maybe next week,
all right,
you'll be hearing us live from the hideout as we scavenge for our, PM pistol mags.
Oh my god, I can't. Yeah, I can't wait.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Catch you later.